Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I just started watching that. It's actually so addictive.
The first season?
You know what? It was like my friend put it on. I don't know what season, or I think it was the newest season. But it's so good and it's so crazy. They just get married and they go live together. Oh my gosh.
And you heard that the rumor is they're currently casting people in Toronto right now. So there's probably going to be a Toronto edition.
Oh my gosh. I hope somebody I know is on that. I would love to see that. Oh my gosh. And everybody's going to be like, Gwen, I don't know, that Toronto accent. I hope they get at least one person on there with that accent. Oh, the classic 100%. Torontonian.
How old are you?
I'm 29 now.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's like the age, right? Like late 20s, early 30s. Supposedly that's when people are ready to get married. So, and Toronto's like big but small. So I think for sure we're going to know people on there.
For sure.
It's going to be amazing watching that.
You're right. Toronto is big but small. What is that? It's like, I do know, I feel like everybody in the industry kind of like knows somehow, like everybody's connected, but it is, anyway, that's the perfect description for Toronto.
Yeah. So also, it could be like somebody that you know multiple people on Love is Blind when it's the Toronto one, and then you see someone you know from one part of your life marrying someone you know from another part of your life.
Yeah. Oh, that would be crazy. Oh my gosh.
Stealing story. Did you steal my story?
And welcome back to another episode of Steele My Story, the show where we bring on a guest to tell one true story and one stolen story. And I'm your host, Alexa Steele. Haha, get it? It's my last name. And my co-host, Ian Fisher. And our very special guest today from her podcast, Happy to See Me, winner of CBS Survivor Season 41, Erica. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
So, have you prepared some wonderful stories for us today?
I have. I don't know how wonderful they are, but I have some to share.
Are you a good liar? Like, before we get into this, how do you feel about your, lying capabilities?
I don't know, because I did win Survivor. So I think that a lot of people assume that I'm a big liar and I'm a great liar because I won Survivor. But when I think about when I filmed the show, I can only remember 2 times that I actually lied. I could have very well lied more than that, but I only remember 2. So I don't think I'm as big of a liar, but I think that I make everything sound like the truth.
Nice. Okay. And you only lied to survive.
Exactly.
That is something we're learning with doing this show, is how everybody is a psychopath. Like, you think...
Yes.
We have actors on and we're like, okay, this makes sense that they're a good liar. But then we just have like people from all kinds of different backgrounds. And we're like, my God, everyone on this planet is a scary good liar, which I don't know what it says for humanity or just for...
All right. So let's get into it. Can we hear your first story?
Okay. So this was a couple years ago. It was probably right after, maybe the summer after it was first legal to buy marijuana in Canada.
Oh,
so
juicy.
I was visiting, right? I know. We're going to talk about something legal.
Ooh.
And I was visiting a friend's mom's house, like in the suburbs, and it was a summer day. They had a pool, and they had an aunt visiting from one of the southern states, and she was curious about getting high because she had never gotten high before. Now we're in Canada, and she can get high, so... It was like my friend's mom insisted that if we're gonna get high, she would have to bake the brownies herself. So we don't know how potent these things are, but she makes the brownies. We all decide to have a bit, and then we're all like, we feel fine. We're talking to this aunt that's visiting. We're like, okay, like, it takes a while. Like, do you want to like come and hang out? And she was like, no. Like, I feel good. You guys go outside. I'm going to tend to this lasagna that I've made. We're like, Are you sure? Because it's going to hit later. They're like, and she was like, no. Let me tend to this.
Oh, wow. So, she's very confident going in. Okay.
Exactly. So me, my friend, our other friend, the mom, we go outside. We sit by the pool. We're all like a little stoned from having the brownie. We're just like laughing, enjoying the sunshine. From my point of view, I feel like we've been sitting out there for a while. And then eventually, like, my friend's mom goes in and then comes back outside and is like, okay, the lasagna's ready. We go in and we're sitting there eating this, like, slightly overcooked lasagna. And we're just like, okay, where is Aunt so-and-so? So then my friend's mom explains, like, what the aunt has told her that has happened. So apparently, this aunt who is inside, who has been tending to this lasagna on her own, all of a sudden feels the rush of the high and just can't move. And she's looking at the oven and she sees that it's getting closer and closer to the oven, like alarm clock going off. And she's just like,
she's just standing there staring at it.
Just staring, frozen, can't move. But her phone is on the countertop, and it's closer to her than the oven. So she slowly gets the strength, picks up her phone, and then sends a text with the limited mobility that she has to the mom. And then as soon as she hits enter, she hears the mom's phone on the kitchen table vibrating. So she's like, shit, I'm not able to get help. So then also she like can't, I don't know, it's hard to describe, like with the way the kitchen is oriented, she's like standing near a window and she's like, I can't get to the oven. So I'm going to try to get people's attention at the window. So she like slowly turns her body to the window and then raises both of her hands up, just frozen. So both her hands are above her head.
Just above her.
Apparently she's just like staring at us, laughing outside as she's standing there at the window, arms up.
She's going through this horrible, dreadful time where she can't move your bodies, contrasted to you guys in the sunlight, just basking in the glow.
Exactly. So she's just like frozen because she just can't knock on the windows or anything. So I don't know. She believes she has been standing there for a while. And then eventually my friend's mom is thinking the lasagna, like it's been a while. So my friend's mom goes in and then sees her sister just like frozen, standing in the window. And then she says to her, are you okay? And this aunt, in an attempt to respond, just opens her mouth, but no words can come out because she's so high. And instead she just vomits on the front of her shirt.
No!
Yeah. So then the mom has to take her to bed and she goes to bed. She's like trying to explain what's happening to her as like she's in the bed. And then eventually mom gets the lasagna and then tells us everything that had happened. So that was the story of my friend's southern aunt getting high for the first time.
You getting high with taking edibles as like your first time is pretty crazy, and then also making it yourself because there's still no way to tell like how strong they really would be. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like for context, my friend's mom and my friend's aunt were both farm people. Mm-hmm. So I feel like farm people have this, I don't know, this idea of independence and feeling like they can have more control over other things and they could do it better. So even though this mom is like, okay, I'm going to make it myself, so I'll know exactly what goes into it. I'm like, oh, it's actually better if you buy it from the store so you know exactly how potent it is. But yeah, they were extremely potent.
Yeah, they were extremely. For me. And so how did they bake it into, like, did they make put it into the butter and then put it into the brownies? Or I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to assume that's how brownies are normally made.
Yeah, made? Yeah, I'm like, I think
but then she made it, like, before we got to the house for the weekend.
Okay. And was this the only... So did you stay there for a while?
We stayed there. We were there for, like, a long weekend. So I think this was the first full day of the long weekend. And then the next day we laughed about it in the morning, and then after we were told we have to stop laughing about this because she was embarrassed.
How your aunt described being high where everyone else is having fun outside and you're locked inside staring out a window is like me anytime I'm high. It's just like I'm the guy who's not good at the drugs, who's like, yes, even though I may not be literally locked inside a kitchen alone, that's how I feel. So I'm like empathizing with her right now.
Yeah, it sounds like being a zoo animal or something. You're just trapped behiund the windows, but at least zoo animals can move. Like, I just feel bad.
Yeah, she just stood there.
We did see the shirt the next day, too.
No.
And so was it her own shirt or was it the mom's shirt?
It was her own shirt. It was like, I don't know, you know, like how older people have like baggy shirts, like baggy old t-shirts that say, it's not Northern Reflection because I don't have that in the States, but you know, like some older person brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that.
Oh my God. Okay.
It reminded me a bit of a horror movie at first, like when your mom came in or the mom came in and her sister's mouth is just open. I was like, oh my God, this sounds like A Quiet Place or some nightmare is going to happen.
Oh yeah.
So if anything, I was relieved to hear that it was just projectile vomit coming out of her mouth.
Vomit, yeah.
Just
imagine it
dribbling
becomes
down.
like this paranormal thing. I'm like, oh, we thought it was drugs, but really
She was
witchcraft.
possessed.
Yeah, the day we met in Exorcist while making brownies. Jeez.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
yes.
And did you guys have any more brownies over the weekend, or were they put away after that instance?
No one else was allowed to have brownies for the rest of the weekend.
That's how you know you got too high, when it's banned for everybody.
Yeah, banned
Yeah.
for everybody in the house.
It's like no more
The adults
trampoline for
need-
any kid.
Exactly. It's like one person had to ruin it for everyone, and then we were sober the rest of the weekend.
Okay, that's a good first story. I think we've asked our questions to try and poke a few
Yeah, it's got a little
holes.
danger. It's got
Yeah.
it's legal in
Yeah.
Canada. It's not legal there, so there's some reality that maybe
yeah.
the American aunt wouldn't be so good at making brownies, unlike all our stoned Canadian aunts up here.
Well, no, it was the Canadian mom who made the brownies. But
Okay.
the American aunt couldn't handle the brownies.
Okay, so this could be real because she's got the details here,
Yeah.
correcting us on the things we're getting wrong. So,
Okay. So story number 1, and let's hear number 2.
Okay, so number 2, it was a few years ago. My friend and I were backpacking in Guatemala at this place. It was called Lake Atitlan. I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, if there's anybody Guatemalan who is listening.
100% of our audience is Guatemalans, and they're livid right
It's
now.
Guatemalan? Oh, God. Oh, no. What I did here was legal, too, I promise. But no, so Lake Atitlan, it's like this beautiful place that so many tourists visit in Guatemala. So big lake. Around the lake, there are all these different small towns that you can visit. So it's normal to go for a week and stay a few nights at a different little town. So on this backpacking trip, my friend and I were like, let's treat ourselves a couple nights. And we booked this really nice hotel that was also like a yoga resort. So it was like also like in a more remote part of Lake Atitlan. And when we reached out to the hotel and made the reservation, they told us that we had to take the boat to a certain dock and that we had the option of either taking a tuk-tuk or we could climb the beautiful 400-step staircase up this hill to the resort. So we're like, okay, we're obviously not going to be doing that. And then so they explained the instructions for how to get there. And then they were like, the only thing is don't get on a tuk-tuk that's driven by a child. We're like, okay, cool. So
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Exactly. That's easy, right? Like you should be able to figure out if it's a child or not.
That's a basic rule of like, hey, if I get on an airplane and there's 2 kids in the cockpit, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to get the next one.
Yeah. I don't know, like, if there's any mode of transportation that I should get in that's being operated by a
That's
child.
being
Yeah,
operated
a radio
by a child,
flyer
exactly.
wagon, maybe, that's it. Like,
Yeah. Or like a sled. I don't even know.
Maybe
there's
not,
some savvy
even then.
kids. I would trust a sled. So earlier in the day, my friend and I decided we're going to make a day trip to another town first, and then we're going to go to the town, to the dock where we're going to go to this yoga resort. And as we're on the way to that town, we see the boat stop at the dock we're supposed to go to for the yoga resort later. And we're like, okay, there's tons of tuk-tuk drivers there trying to get customers. So this is going to be perfectly fine when it's time for us to go. We don't see any kids there. So we go do our day trip. The day trip ends up longer than we anticipated. And then by the time we take the boat to this dock that we're supposed to go to, it is fully nighttime. And we get off and there's no tuk-tuks there. We're just like, okay, we are the only people here. There's nothing around. We only see this one guy in the distance sitting under some light. And we're like, okay. And also this was back before we ever got local phone plans or anything. We were like, let's just survive on Wi-Fi. So we had nothing. And we're like, okay, maybe we just wait until a tuk-tuk comes.
I thought you were going to say that you got there and it was like only children at the dock like when you got there.
Well, we're standing there for a while. And then the man that we see in the distance just gets up and starts walking towards us. And we're like, I don't know. This just like doesn't feel good.
Yeah, scary.
We don't know where to go. It's all like wooded area around us. And then this tuk-tuk appears and it's driven by a child. And my friend is like, fuck it. We're getting in the kids' tuk-tuk. Or we're like, okay.
The man is getting closer. Okay. The decision.
Exactly. Because I don't know what our reasoning is. We're like, okay, I think we could defend ourselves from the kid, but not from the guy. I don't know. We get into this.
I beat up hundreds of kids. Yeah, easy targets.
That is going to be the clip from this podcast that gets canceled. So we get in the tuk-tuk, and it's this like dark wooded area, lots of winding turns. It is all uphill. This kid is driving us. We're like, this is fine. But then he starts driving us through like all of these places that freak us out. Like at one point we drive by this field and all these like children are emerging from the grass and like,
oh my God, children of the corn.
Yes, exactly. And then at another point we're going through the woods and then he turns and there's a massive garbage fire. Probably like this flame is 10 to 12 feet tall. And this man is standing there sharpening a machete. And my friend and I actually say to each other, oh shit, like we're fucked. But then the kid keeps going. So we're freaked out. And then at one point we get to this part where it's a steep incline. So the kid is driving and then all of a sudden the tuk-tuk stops. And he's like, it's too heavy. You guys have to get out so I could get to the top of this hill. And then I'm like, okay, but I'm going to take my bag with me. And he's like, no, you don't have to take the bags. You can just leave the bags in there and you can get out. And when I get to the top, you can get in. And I'm just thinking like, I don't want, I'm like, and I go to my friend, I'm like, we have to take the bags because I don't want this kid to steal our stuff. And my friend is so freaked out. She's like, just leave the bags. Get out. Just leave the bags. I'm like,
oh my gosh, no.
So we get out. This kid drives up this hill. And in my mind, I'm like, I can't let this kid steal my stuff. So I'm just sprinting uphill right behind this tuk-tuk, have to keep up with him. Luckily,
you're like, I'm not letting you out of my sight.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to outrun this thing, but I'm like, I can't get my stuff stolen. And then we reach the top of that hill. We get back in. We're like, okay, maybe we can trust the kid. And then later we reach another steep hill and the kid's like, you guys have to get out again. And my friend is freaking out at this point. She's just like throwing stuff off the tuk-tuk. She's like, I don't need this water bottle. I don't need this t-shirt. Like, will this help? Is this okay?
Trying to lighten the load.
Exactly. And I'm like, okay, we'll get out and we'll take out the bags too. And he's like, no, you could keep the bags. So once again, kid drives up the thing. I sprint up and then he does stop and then we do get in. So then after like a bit more time, we end up getting to the yoga resort, getting in. We can't sleep. We're just like we're so like anxious. And then we just have an amazing 2 days at the resort. And when we were leaving, the hotel owner assured us that an adult would be driving us back to the dock.
Oh my gosh. So he just took you on a little tour through hell before this yoga expedition.
I know.
Adrenaline all the way up before you relax.
I was so ready for when you got there that the yoga instructors were all children as well.
We're all kids,
Lord of the Flies Island. And
I know. And I think because at this resort, everyone spoke Spanish. Like, even when we checked in, we were using Google Translate on the hotel front desk computer to talk to the people. We never really got an explanation why we had to avoid the kids.
Yeah, did you notice anything was like stolen, or is it just because they took these really weird routes?
Maybe it's just
Nothing
liability.
got stolen.
Maybe.
I don't know. You're like,
nothing got stolen. It's just like scary.
Did he charge you more than you thought was fair or something?
To be honest, I think by the time we got to the top, he could say any number, and we were like,
it was fine.
That's fine.
You're like, yeah, 5,000 USD.
Yeah,
25-minute ride.
it.
Seems fair.
Please don't
Whatever
ever
you want
come
to
back
take
to
it.
drive us.
Yeah.
I would be so nervous too. Like, same thing as you, leaving your bag for those 30 seconds, like up the hill, just not knowing if it's like a long con this whole time with your
Yeah.
passport in it, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I
thought
thought
for
he was
sure.
for sure. Yeah.
No, we thought for sure when we got to the garbage fire, we were like, that's it.
With the machete
It's
and
over.
everything.
When you're at the
yeah.
garbage fire, is never a great the sign that the commute's going well.
The garbage fire is somebody's just sharpening the machete. I'm like,
That's it.
of course. Of course.
Alexa and I once had a similar thing. We were in Thailand and we got off the airplane, and similar thing where like you're advised to only go with like certain cabs and not the people like heckling you outside of airports to get in. But we were going on like a 2-hour drive, and we asked, like, essentially we wanted a big van, and we snuck in this like little car, and he drove like 45 minutes into the darkness of like a neighborhood, and we were like, oh my God, like, is this the end for us? Like, and we kept saying like, hey, we're good, actually, like we can get out. And he'd be like, no, it's a little farther. And I'm like paranoid, so I'm like checking my iPhone, and I'm like, we're going the wrong way. This is the opposite way from Krabi, which was like where we were off to. But anyway, we were like, I was with my uncle, who's like pretty relaxed guy and a really chill traveler, and like even he was like getting a little bit nervous that maybe we'd made a mistake. But like similar to your situation, like he pulls up to this garage and he opens the door, and we're ready just like to get mugged and have 7 people waiting for us. And it's like a beautiful Sprinter van waiting for us with like huge seats and reclining everything. And it was like, it worked out amazing. And we're so glad that we stuck with it. But like a little bit of that.
Yeah, I feel like he told us to get out too with our suitcases. Like he parked and he was like, okay, get out, like, and get your stuff. And we're like,
yeah, he's like, my
no.
friend will come around. And it was his friend in the Sprinter, but we were like, we're just like, he's just left us in some neighborhood in the dark at like 2 a.m. Yeah.
On another excursion on this trip, like the week later, we were telling everyone the story. We're like, it was the most stressful transfer we ever did. And then we ended up on a bus where we missed our stop, and then ended up almost going to Honduras. And then we got off the bus before going to Honduras, and we're just at the side of the road at this bus stop where no tourists are. Nobody can speak English. But we figured it out. We figured out how to get back.
Oh my gosh.
But we were just like, if something's going to happen to us, it's here. But
for sure, that would be.
But still alive and on the show, so clearly
exactly.
It all worked out.
Exactly. She survives.
She survives once again. I gotta know, maybe before Alexa and I try to guess to see which is the lie, the stolen story. Do you remember offhand the 2 times you lied on Survivor? Like, do you remember what it was? The 2 times that you feel either guilty about or that it helped you? That you're like, yeah, maybe I am a little liar?
I don't feel guilty because it worked out.
Because you clearly won? I guess you'd only feel guilty if you lied horribly and then lost. I'd be like, well, that was a mistake.
Yeah. It was just very, very simple, just standard Survivor lie where people who I had good relationships with in the game came up to me at 2 separate times and were like, are you voting me out tonight? And I was like, no. And then they got voted out that night. So, just standard
Just
reality.
standard procedure. Come on.
Standard kind of lie.
blame
You still
me?
love me?
No.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know why people ask that question, because the answer is never going to be yes.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Never in a million years. Like, yeah, it's you tonight. Sorry,
Yeah.
pal.
Yeah. Of course, I have to say with full conviction, no.
No.
Yeah, no, never. You're my
absolutely
best
not.
friend in the
See-
world.
Whoa, that was a very convincing no. Makes me a little nervous to guess between these stories. Okay, let me ask a few more questions about your trip to. So, how did you find this yoga trip?
My friend found it. I was
Okay.
like, I want to do something slightly bougie. So I picked like the cheap hostels, and then she picked the one nice place.
Nice. Okay.
Right. So you thought you were gonna get murdered on the like, or conned on the like bougie part of the trip, but you're like, oh my god, we survived all the hostels, but now the nice retreat is where the kid kills us or steals.
Yeah,
all
we
of
were
our
like,
stuff.
we're gonna be so relaxed. We're gonna get massages. We're gonna do yoga. But no. We like barely slept the first night we were there because we were.
Maybe
so
it's a
anxious.
con by the like resort to get you super stressed, so then you're super relaxed the rest of the trip.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, where they're like stressed. You need a 2-hour massage.
Worried about a child driving a motorized vehicle?
Did he slow down by the garbage fire? Did he
Yeah.
like psych
Well,
you
I don't
out
know.
and make you think that he was going to drop you there?
I don't know if he slowed down or if it was just me thinking that my life was flashing before my eyes. Because I feel like the drive around the garbage fire and the man with the machete felt like the longest
Too
moment
long.
of my life.
It's like a Home Alone situation, though, when we like go back and like look at her memories. It's like not even a fire; it's someone lighting a cigarette on the side of the road.
Yeah.
The sharpening
There was
knife
no
is
machete.
clearly a sushi chef on the side, just like through a window of a 5-star resort.
Yeah, there was no man. It was just a barbecue or something.
Yeah, exactly.
barbecue.
Someone smiling and waving at you. You're like, "We're gonna die."
Exactly. And imagine it's not even a kid. It's a full-grown adult.
Yeah, this is not. He's 6'5" too. You're like, "What's going on?"
Okay, another really good story. Okay.
Anything from the first one we should try to trap her, like go back or like.
Okay.
She had a lot
Okay.
of really good details in the second one. I'm like, did we let her slide off the hook with the first one a couple times?
All right, we're going to backpedal here.
What city did you say this took place in?
It was like a small town outside of Kitchener-Waterloo.
Okay.
That was quick. That was a
Yeah,
quick.
it was. It was pretty good.
That was a good.
I thought I had her.
Okay, well, audience, take a moment. Guess. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment down below. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, just say your answer out loud or to the
Tell your
person.
child driver.
Tell your child driver, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to go first this time?
Yeah, I guess I can go first because I often just make you go first, which is a good way of getting out of it.
I already have my decision.
Do you?
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
fully convicted.
I'm fully convinced.
Like Erica lying to a human being while looking in their eyes.
Yeah, okay. Well, now you're making me second guess, but I have my guess.
Yeah, I think for whatever reason that the first story may be a lie, but I don't know because sometimes it's so hard because people might have. I don't know if by the end of this show run, like after we've done 100 episodes, if we're just going to be like, you know, those FBI profilers who can just tell who's lying. If we're like, people always have more details when they're lying.
I hope so. If anything, I'm more confused than ever.
Yeah, we're learning that we're not getting any better at this, and that you can't trust
Everyone's a
anybody.
good actor.
Everyone's a good actor. Oh, okay. So you're thinking
I'm thinking the first story is the lie, or maybe didn't happen to her, and the second one did. But I don't know. But again, like I honestly,
you have to be convicted.
okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go with my gut.
Okay, I'm the opposite. I think the first story is true, and your second story may be a lie or stolen. Erica, please
Okay.
reveal.
So the second story is true.
The
First
pain.
story, there's elements of the truth, but there's a lot of it that's not real.
Oh,
What really happened? Or
yeah. Tell us what really happened.
Oh, no. I had to anonymize it to not embarrass
Oh,
some
I
poor
see.
middle-aged woman. But I'll
in
just
real
say
life, it
there-
was
there-
pure cocaine, and it was
woman-
in Vegas, and it was a whole different thing.
there's a woman out there who has thrown up on her shirt. That's all I'll say.
Oh, we've all been there.
We've all been there. Wow. So that second story really happened. I thought maybe like that was your friend's story or something, but that was really you. Wow.
Well, that was the thing. Is her sprinting behind the tuk tuk. I was
Yeah.
like, is this just like added flair, or
Yeah.
being like a paranoid person like me? I would be like
No, I'm so
1,000%.
paranoid.
Oh, same. I'd be like skitching like Michael J. Fox on a skateboard right behind that truck. I'd just be like, I'm going within inches of this thing to make sure it's not out of my sight.
Were your
Yeah.
bags like tied down in a way that you couldn't just like scoop them? Or they were just
No,
too heavy?
They were just like thrown in the back of the tuk-tuk. So we could have gotten them out.
just too
I know, but
just too much
I
happening.
always get I'm so paranoid about getting pickpocketed for whatever reason. I've just always been drilled into me that's the scariest thing that can ever happen. So I just became like Usain Bolt. I just have never ran that fast at such a steep incline, but I was just like, I can't let this nightmare of pickpocketing happen. So
and you did it like 2-3 times.
Yeah. It's crazy what the body does.
Yeah, the body can do what it needs to do when that adrenaline is pumping, when there's a garbage fire and machete behind you and your bag's driving away in front of you.
Oh, yeah. And all these children in this field.
Oh, man.
This sounds like a straight up horror movie. But...
It does. It honestly, like, they took you through every horror movie that's ever been created.
It's good to know, though, that you'd probably survive in a horror movie, too. Like, if you're like, you know, you're running faster, because in the movies always they run slower and then they trip on like the log.
Yeah. Not you. You got out.
Yeah.
You're the survivor.
You just become a whole different person, 100%.
That's what I hope I am, but I feel like I'm more the person when it's time to die. I'm the one going, oh God, no, please.
I'm for sure the first one to go. I'm first one
Killed
dead
13
immediately.
minutes into the horror movie.
Yeah.
I don't want to come back for the sequel. Because that's like so much trauma for one person to carry, you know? Like, Is it Nev Campbell who survives all the Scream movies? Is that the one? Like,
yeah,
that's a tough life. That's
totally.
A tough life to live.
Like Jurassic Park, when like, come back to the island. Nothing will go wrong this time. It's like, how many times are you going to keep going here? Like, I don't think these doors are locked that well.
Yeah. At some point, are you just going to be like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah, I've seen enough dinosaurs.
Again. I'm good.
I've been the last person to survive 17 times. I think I'm fine.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, at that point, I wonder if you're just testing fate. If you're like, maybe
I
this
can't
is the
die.
time.
Yeah, maybe I'll just visit the facility.
And so fit that I never left.
It's so fit.
Smart and fit.
You're just testing. You're like, I've been doing a lot of Barry's boot camp, hitting the gym a lot of F-45. Can I survive velociraptors chasing me?
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. That was good. I usually pride myself. Like, I feel like I'm usually right at guessing, but you got me. So thank you for coming on. And can you tell us a little bit more about your show and where our listeners can find you on social media and where they can listen to your show?
Yes. I mean, thank you for having me. And Alexa, I promise I will never vote you out of Survivor.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Don't believe a fucking word out of her mouth.
So we are all Sonar Network sisters.
Yes!
So I also have a podcast on the Sonar Network.
Woo, woo, woo,
So my podcast is called Happy to See Me. It's an interview podcast where I talk to people about their experiences being overlooked and underestimated. I'm actually going to have Alexa on my show. So by the time this comes out, maybe Alexa's episode will be out, maybe it won't. But either way, follow my show. So you can find Happy to See Me anywhere you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And then I'm most active on Instagram. So it's Erica_Cas. And that's Erica with a K. So ERIKA_CAS.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for being on. You're an amazing liar. So I hope we can have you on again soon. And I'm so looking forward to coming on Happy to See Me.
Yes, I can't wait. And honestly, thank you. I guess I just can't escape the fact that people think I'm good at lying. So.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Steele My Story. We'll see you next week. Bye.